everyone, Caitlin here. This meditation is targeted towards your inner child or inner children, if you want to think of having multiple inner young parts. And so the purpose of this is to bring some compassion in towards yourself and towards that younger, more vulnerable part of yourself, especially in the context of any pain or suffering that you might be experiencing today. So with any meditation, you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or allow them to stay open. And just take a moment first to settle into your body, maybe taking a deep inhale, and then letting it go. And just see if you can let yourself settle into a greater state of relaxation. You don't need to become perfectly relaxed or zen-like or anything like that. But just see if you can release or let go of some of the tension that you might be carrying as we go into this practice. So if you've closed your eyes, you can allow them to get really heavy. You can unclench your jaw. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Maybe lower your shoulders, allow them to drop down as well. Just feel your body here being a bit softer, a bit more relaxed. And then when you feel able to, I want you to imagine yourself as a younger child. You can pick the age if there's a particular time that feels easier to connect to. Just some time when you were quite small and quite young. And just observe that version of yourself for a few moments. Kind of holding that mental picture of your younger self in your mind's eye. And just take notice of what qualities this younger self presented with. Notice how your younger self spoke, their voice, what it sounded like. How you looked at that young age, noticing your hair, your body, your eyes. Maybe even noticing your younger self's attitude or approach or demeanor. Just really taking in the presence of this younger version of you. And while holding that image of your younger self, I want you to imagine or create this other mental image as some visual representation of the pain and suffering or challenges that you might be facing right now. And not the specific details of what's going on in your life right now or what's happening, but really imagining the presence of all the feelings that are really weighing on you and that are really difficult to deal with in your life now. You might imagine a big ball or cloud of smoke just some abstract version of the potential stress, grief, sadness, pain, shame. Just hold in your mind's eye some visual representation of all of those difficult feelings that you're experiencing in your life today as an adult. And once you have that image, however abstract it is, see if you can imagine those two things, this younger version of you and that big image of the suffering you're experiencing now. See if you can combine them or move them closer together so that this younger version of you is holding or is maybe right beside this big experience of suffering. And just see how your younger self responds to that pain being there. If they feel weighed down by it, they feel scared of it. Maybe that younger version of you is even making stories about what all that suffering means. Stories of, I'm not good enough, or people don't love me. Or maybe even, I don't matter. And if your younger self is making those stories, they're not wrong. And we do this as adults all the time. But I'd like us in this process to see if we can alleviate some of that suffering and really bring in some compassion. So in this moment, you can take another deep cleansing breath in. And as you exhale, you can imagine yourself reaching out to this younger version of you, this younger self. You might imagine yourself fully embracing your inner child in a hug or a hold. Maybe you're just reaching your hands out and grabbing theirs and yours. But seeing if through that connection, through that touch and that embrace and that kindness that you're showing to this younger version of you, notice if anything about that big ball of suffering changes. Maybe it becomes softer or lighter, or it begins to fade. Or it may very possibly remain the same, but this younger version of you may find it easier to be with it now that you're there with them. And just really extending the love and care that you have for this young child. Extending that through this embrace, through that connection, however you've imagined it. Making sure that that child really understands that someone is here for them. You can imagine yourself continuing in that embrace, in that hug or that hold. Or you can imagine yourself just softly, kindly being beside them. Not needing to say anything, but just being there in a way that they really need someone to be there. Now, when you feel ready, I'm going to ask you to take a step back from your inner child. And so if you want to spend more time with them in this embrace, in this loving hold, you can pause the meditation here and resume it when you're ready. But when you are, I'll invite you just to take a step back in this mental space that you've created and just observe this younger version of you again. This beautiful, loving little child. And just witness if anything has changed or stayed the same about their attitude, their demeanor, how they seem to be feeling in this moment after that long embrace with you. And this is also a moment where, if it feels right to do so, you can ask your inner child if there's anything that they need or want from you. It might be something in this moment or in your life as a whole. And accepting whatever response comes, and if possible, making a commitment to give them whatever it is that they need. Maybe it's more comfort or reassurance or reminders that they're loved. Or maybe it's to connect with some other childlike parts of them, like play, or creativity, or laughter. And taking a moment now to thank your inner child for showing up, for trusting you to be close to it, to show your love to it. And when that feels complete, you can take a moment to just tune back into your body as a whole, noticing any lingering sensations, any areas of tension or softness. And then you can slowly make your way back into your surroundings. Thanks as always for your practice, and I'll see you next time.